Yes, welcome to my high-end and frequency business podcast. My name is Lisette from the Netherlands, and I'm an international trained high-end success medium and a high-end and frequency business coach. Throughout my podcast series, I help ambitious, empathetic coaches who aim for high-end success, fulfillment, and ultimate life and business mastery. Absolutely living and thriving from their stardust potential. I'll give you the tips, the tools, and energy shifts you need to shift to the next level of impact, abundance, freedom, and absolute energy joy. So I hope you're ready to shift with me. Let's go. How to become a high-end and frequency coach. The pros, the cons, and the power frequency shift. Yes, a very warm welcome to the High-End and Frequency Business Podcast number 53. In this episode, we're going to talk about how you can become a high-end coach or even a high-end and frequency coach, as I am myself. Well, first of all, the fact that you're listening to this podcast now means that you don't want to be a mediocre coach. You don't settle for that. You simply feel that you're here for something more and something more powerful and something bigger than that. And in the last few podcasts, I've been talking about your calling. So for me, it was like that. I felt I had a calling, and I had that feeling from ever since I was a little girl. I knew I was here to do something special, something different than anybody is doing. But I didn't know what it was. And that was the unfolding of the calling, the unfolding of the potential. And like I've said before, you don't get your calling in a box that at a certain point you feel like, oh, this is it. This is what I need to do. No, that's not how it works. It's an unfolding path. You have to take steps every time, a new step. And listening to this podcast is a new step for you. Maybe you've listened to all of them. Maybe you came across this podcast like by coincidence. I think, who is that woman with that accent from the Netherlands? And then I want to say, amazing you're here. Wonderful to meet and to connect. And I say to you as well, and to everybody who's listening, I don't believe in coincidence. I do believe you are here in this life for a reason, but you're listening to this podcast as well for a reason. It all has to do with synchronicity. And when you're in flow, so when you're moving in the energy and frequency of your soul's potential, then things will start to unfold in those magical ways. I call that the living above the golden line. When you live above the golden line, you start manifesting the things you do want in your life. I mean, when you listen to my podcast, you know we manifest all the time. But when we're living below the golden line, we manifest the things we don't want in our life. So when you are in synchronicity, when those seemingly coincidences happen, then you know I'm on the right path. I'm on the right path. And the fact that you're listening, especially through this episode, that has to do with how you can become a high-end and frequency coach, or how you can become a high-end coach, because those are two different things. You're probably already a service-based entrepreneur, or you're planning to be one, you're training to be one. But that next step to that high-end level, that next step, and that next step to that high frequency level, those are two different things, because to get there, you have to take powerful, massive action, and you have to work through so many layers. You have to become that master of your own energy and frequency. So, well, talking about the pros and the cons, there are so many pros, there are so many benefits of becoming that high-end and high-frequency coach. One of the most important benefits is, for me, as a high-end success medium, as a high-frequency business coach, is that when you work with energy, most of the time you're highly sensitive, you're empathetic. That means when you help people, you don't just help them, you help them with your heart and soul, from who you truly are. And that means you give so much energy that after a session, you need to recharge. that's normal. At least I feel that's normal. So you need to have time for rituals and things that help you. For me, what helps is listening to hypnosis. For me, helps listening to meditation. What really helps is I love in the morning to work on my body, to stand on the cross trainer. And while I'm doing that, I'm always using my time. So I call it net time. That's cost me no extra time. Or I call it net time. It's like mastery. Tony Robbins always says, when you listen to something while you're doing something else, it costs you no extra time. So he calls that net time. So I'm listening to Tony Robbins audios when I'm on the cross trainer. And yeah, that's for me, that's a pro, that's a benefit. When you, especially at the high end level, when you're coached, then you have more time because you don't work with thousands of students. You work with a smaller group of students who you coach, who you train, who you help, who you empower. And the fact that you're working with a smaller group means you can focus your energy really powerful to that students and jump into their energy, their frequency, feel what they need, maybe do the energy clearing or whatever is needed for them at the moment in time. And I work as well with the world of spirits. So I connect to the higher realms, the spirit world, to their loved ones. So they help me as well. For me, that's an amazing pro. That's an amazing benefit because I don't have to do all the work myself. I call it my spirit team. They help me, they work with me, they work through me. And that might sound a little bit wishy-washy, but yeah, when we understand how energy and frequency works, I have the back of my pot cards, my own pot card deck with the cards. Bruise of the Mind is one of the cards that's at the bottom as well. At the back of the cards, you can see the little dots, and every dot is a soul. And between the dots, you see thin lines. And I call those the etheric lines. It's almost like, I always say, it's like Spider-Man. Spider-Man connects with those thin threads of the web, right? And it looks a bit like a web as well. But we're all connected. So when you understand that everything is energy, you also understand that energy can't be destroyed. It can only be changed in form. That means that there are so many souls we can work with in the spirit world I talk about now at this moment, because when you become a frequency coach, yeah, you learn to connect to that as well. But that's a choice. That's a choice. You can also choose like, okay, whatever expertise I have at this moment as a therapist, as a psychologist, as a coach, as a service-based provider, I'm fine with that. I just want to take it to that next level, that high-end level. I can help you with that as well. And yes, I will tune into your energy, and I'll warn you in advance, working with energy is almost contagious. It's almost contagious because it's like tapping into new layers, the unseen layers, and it works so fast. It works so fast. So yeah, I love it. But well, you probably understand that by listening to this. Are there some disadvantages? I wanted to talk about the disadvantages and the cons, but to be honest, I can't think of disadvantages. So while I'm saying that, I was thinking about a training session I had with one of my international students from Belgium. And that person was working with me, and she's in the one-to-one coaching sessions with the high frequency coaching as well. And she's learning that. So when we're together, we work with each other's energy field. So she was working with my energy field. And when you blend with each other's energy, it's like you step into that same bubble together. And then she felt like, oh, it can be a bit lonely. And I said, yes, that's true. That's correct. It can be a bit lonely. And when I talk about disadvantages, I don't want to call it even a con, because yes, it can be a lonely road. Why? Because you're a pioneer. When you're doing this, you're a pioneer. And thank God, the energy and frequency of the world is shifting. So many, many more people are awakening and are more open to what's possible. So if it's there, why not use it, right? So I'm really happy you're listening to this at this moment, because this is something you need to hear. Yes, it can be a lonely road. Why? Because the shifts, you have to go through that by yourself. And the people around you know you in a certain way. And when you start to shift and change your frequency and energy, yeah, people don't want change. So when you're changing, they might react in a certain way. Sometimes I hear from students that their surroundings are a bit like trying to bring this energy work down. And then I want to share with you immediately, like, that's fine, because it has nothing to do with you or with what you do. It has to do with their own programming and their own fear. Yeah, they're confronted with fears. When you work with energy and frequency, and that's what through the years, I've learned that people can become a bit intimidated by your energy, by your light, by your frequency, and by the fact that they think that you can look straight through them. Then I always say, well, I just can look at your colors and I can see your thought waves and I can see your past loved ones. But no, I'm not seeing everything. Don't worry. No, it's like we have our rules. So we work by certain rules. And when you're working and training with me, of course, I will learn you those rules, because everybody has free will and we accept that. And yes, there are karmic laws as well. So we have to be respectful in that way. But yeah, so the disadvantages, the cons of working with at a high-end level and at a frequency level is that you start to distinguish yourself from other people. And the beautiful part is that new people will come into your life as well, because they recognize your energy, or they feel in yours, or they feel from a soul to soul level or a heart to heart level that they need to be with you. And other people might leave your life, but that's fine. It's all like the seasons. It's always changing. It's always changing. And some people leave, some people stay. That's fine. That's fine. But yeah, those are the only things I can think of as disadvantages. Why did I combine high end and high frequency? Well, because of the exchange of energy that costs energy as well. It's like being on a bike energetically and training and working out. In the beginning, you can do that for 30 minutes, for an hour. And yeah, when you need then 10 clients because your price is so low, then it's hard to keep on doing that. So I want you to be aware of that. And that's the reason why, for me, it's important to work at the highest level outstanding, the highest level, to serve at the highest level, to work with people who are leaders. I don't work with followers. And the fact that you're listening to this is that you are a leader. Maybe you're a leader like with some layers on top of the leading part of your beautiful diamond. Your stardust potential is a bit covered with earthly dust. But we'll take that away. We'll work through that. And then you can shine and radiate from that most beautiful, authentic way of who you truly, truly are. And when you step into that power, it even makes me sit up straight while I'm talking about it, because that's what it is. When you step into that full soul potential, that ever unfolding soul potential, that beautiful stardust frequency, you can create and serve in a way that you can't even comprehend at this moment in time. Yeah, because you step into the path of your calling, the architect's plan of your soul, and the power and the frequency shift that comes through that, and the power and the frequency shifts that you will share and exchange, and the ripple effect that you would create with that by doing the work yourself first and then spreading your message is I want to say outstanding because we go for level outstanding, but I can't even find the words. It's absolutely magnificent. Magnificent with a capital M. Sometimes I have to search for words in English, but I hope you understand what I mean. I hope you understand what I mean. So, yes, the power and frequency shift that you will create by becoming that high-end and high-frequency coach is absolutely magnificent. So when this feels, or when this feels, not feels, but feels something within you, when this resonates, when this maybe even triggers something, maybe you feel a little fear, or maybe you feel your energy building in your heart or your throat, those are fears. And the thoughts of who am I? I'm not good enough. That's not for me. Or the fear of maybe, well, when I start working with energy and frequency, then I don't have time and energy for blah, 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 blah. Right? That might happen when I'm telling you this, but now you know. Now you know, so you can prepare yourself. And now you understand why I chose the high-end and high-level path. Because I want to work with leaders like you, who want to do the work and who want to empower themselves first. And by doing that, they will empower the people around them and they can spread it throughout the world, like I'm doing. Yeah, I want to work with people who are not afraid to take action. And sure, it might be scary, it might be exciting. You might feel those energy triggers, but you choose to move through them. And when you do that, you can embrace your calling. And I can tell you now that at the end of your beautiful, beautiful life, many, many years from now, when you go to the world of spirit, I know they will be so proud that you didn't sit back. You didn't spend years on the couch watching Netflix or whatever. Sure, now and then it's great, but not all the time. And I just explained this to my youngest son. We always move towards pleasure and away from pain. And he connects now with 16 years old, pleasure to playing computer games. But my oldest son just turned 22. He's done the inner work. I worked with him and he's been reading. He showed me the book list. I even have done that myself. He showed me the book list of the books he had read the last year, 40 books of the highest level achievers he read. And then I asked my son of 16, who's gaming, I asked, what do you think your oldest brother connects pleasure to? Do you think he connects pleasure to reading books, or do you think he connects pain to reading books? Then he said, well, I think pleasure, which he doesn't even understand. But I said, so it's not a fact. The fact that you think playing computer games is amazing, or the fact that you think that watching Netflix is amazing, it's not a fact. It's the meaning you attach to it. So my oldest son attached pleasure to reading those books. And that's what it's all about. So where do you move towards for pleasure? And where do you move away from because you believe it causes pain? That's the most important question to ask yourself. So, does becoming a high-end and frequency coach sounds like pleasure to you? And it might feel a bit scary, but does it feel like pleasure when you step into the future and you step into the power of becoming that high-end, that successful high-end and frequency coach, helping so many people? Look at those faces around you, those messages you receive of people being so grateful for everything you've done for them, how you help them change their lives, maybe even save their lives. And I can share this with you because that's where I am. Step into that future. Feel how it feels. Can you connect pleasure to that moment? Does it feel, wow, amazing? Do you feel outstanding? Do you feel like you're living your calling, where you're helping so many in a way that absolutely resonates with who you truly are? When you connect pleasure to this and you create that memory of the future and you take it into your heart now and just get that feeling, that image, and bring it to your heart. Breathe through that feeling, through those images, through those messages, thousands of messages you receive from so many people who are so grateful that you made the decision to step into your ultimate power, the power that you created, the power frequency shift, because that's what you're doing in this moment. And again, you have to decide. And when you feel a yes, a bubbly heck yes, when you want to go for level outstanding and beyond, well, then I want to say to you, please DM me. Send me a message through Instagram, Facebook, or just send me an email at info@lisettelucas.nl, or just reply in the comments, and then I'll reach out and we can connect. Yes, well, I hope you took some beautiful little golden nuggets from this episode. And if this sounds good, please, again, reach out and we can connect and create a discovery call moment. And from that place, we can look at your energy, at your frequency, at your business, and see where you are at this moment and what needs to shift to step into that next level potential. Well, thanks so much for listening. The show notes of this episode you can find at www.lisettelucas.com/B53, and download my totally free Above the Golden Line method, including reprogramming hypnotation, at www.lisettelucas.com/golden line. And when you love the hypnotation and you say, okay, I'm all in, I want to get everything out of it that I can, I absolutely love this and I want more, then I advise you to buy on Amazon the Above the Golden Line method journal. And it's a powerful journal, and you can use this for 7 weeks so you can move to that quantum to Newtonian transition point, that everything you want and wish from frequency turns into your reality. Well, how does that sound? Amazing, right? So you can download the manifestation journal on Amazon. And I want to thank you and leave you with the words that you always have a choice. So please decide what your soul wants and needs. Thanks so much for listening and looking forward to connect. Bye. Thank you for listening to my High-End and Frequency Business podcast. My name is Lisette Lucas, and if you want to join my Energy Joy world, please drop me a DM, and really looking forward to connect.